on it and make sure all the stuff was going to clear and stuff. Now I've been trying to finish up some of the computer issues. Like I had a taillight signal saying the taillights are out. It was picking up the new taillights and stuff that I've changed over, and I'll show you what I did in there. And then my park sensor, my blind spot sensor, I was able to get that light turned out and gone away by installing all the sensors and locating them, and then the computer cleared that out, so that's all plugged back in. All those parts are in place, but the blind spot sensor is not going to work, but it's going to all be in there where it's not got the light on, because it's not going to shoot through the metal. I have nowhere to shoot that image out, that signal out. That's not metal right there, but that's okay. But our rear park sensors, I've still got a light on those. The ones I have in there, I don't think are the right part number, so we're gonna get the other ones in there and put those in, and that park sensor should work. Because everything else is working flawlessly. The park sensor is the only code I have in the entire car right now, and it's just running and working perfectly. Every aspect of the Hellcat's perfect. But I was back to the doors now. And I wanted to show you what I was doing on the windows, because the Hellcat computer and all that is looking for the driver's side motor, and I have to come up with a way to trick it as well. So I'll give you a closer look at how I've addressed all these problems, and I've got them all working beautifully. Looking to start in the trunk. And in the trunk here, what we end up doing is we got taillights from Cleveland's, and these were maybe out of a Hellcat, I'm not sure, but plugged those both in, and most of my light went away. It was saying all taillights are out, and then once I plugged these in, it was still saying taillights are out. But I was scavenging power off of those to run through these sequential lights. So these taillights are going to be in here mounted forever. I got them face down. I've got them taped off. You can't see them. They don't know it's there, but the computer thinks they're still there. But to operate these, when I pulled power off those, the computer picked these up. And it took me a minute to figure it out, but it's just the way this is sequential lighting is wired. They feed power, left turn power into the right turn light. Not really sure why, but I ended up pulling those two circuits off of it, and all that is working exactly the way it was on the Hellcat now. And now it, yeah, just perfectly. And then these will be mounted in behind my panels. I've made some rear panels that go here. I've made you a little insert here, and then this piece here I had to fit around your strut tower up there, and then made this little back piece, and then this part will just flip up, and then you grab the handle and then pull this up, and then you can get to your trunk. It's gonna be a little tight, but we're out of room. It hits the tail lights and stuff, but you can still get around there and keep your stuff in there and store it. It'll just be a little tight. And then this is actually the old rocker panel off the Hellcat. I just cut a hole in it, mounted in there. I'll wrap it in the material, put some mounts on the end of it, and it really finishes that trunk off really, really nice. And these pieces here I'll wrap in this material, and I'll rewrap that in that material. I'm going to use the original wheel houses to there. I cut those off right there around the edge, and then I got a panels over here on the deal that we'll go there, and I'll wrap these in that same trunk material, and that'll fill up both those panels. And then as far as the door goes, I'm wanting to operate these power windows with the Hellcat controller, but it senses when to stop the window, the automatic up, and kicks down a little bit when you pull the handle, and so it's got to have, the computer's got to know what's going on. So this is the processor that came off the end of the original Hellcat motor. So this is the Hellcat motor, power window motor, and then I've taken it apart, pulled the armature and stuff out of it, and just pulled the processing part, and this goes to the brushes to run the armature. And so now all I have is that piece of it, plugs right back into the Hellcat. Then I'm powering my charger window with it, and not only that, I was able to take where this controller here, so the driver will be able to operate the 69 charger windows with this part of the controller. Up here at the top, this was the old power windows, power rearview mirrors, I mean, and we're not using those now. So now I have made these where this operates the quarter glass back here, where originally the Hellcat didn't have roll down rear glass. So the Charger had it. Now it took a lot to get all that working mechanical part of it in there, the rollers, the tracks. It was brutal because of the wheelhouse and stuff. There was just no room, but I got all that in there and working, and then I put a polarity reversing switch from this signal into, and in that reversing switch has its own power load, so it'll support the power it takes to roll up those back windows. And then the driver can just hit, like if he's going to hit left rearview mirror adjust, now left and up and down is the back window. And if he wants to go to the right window, he can just switch this over to the right window and it will operate the right rear window. And then now with the way, and then you can just turn that off, and then now with the way I got this working, he can operate left door and right door window with that. And that might change a little bit once I get the load of the glass, because that processor right there picks all that up. And that's what I was trying to trick. I couldn't get him power over here in that controller to work until I put the processor back on that. Next thing, we'll work on getting the only light I got left on is the rear park lights. And I got new sensors coming for that, and that'll have every item in the Hellcat working exactly the way it did in the Hellcat, from the headliner to the cameras to the Bluetooth, everything. This car's got 29,000 miles, but it looks like a '69 Charger, and it is fast, boy, I tell you. I had it in track mode the other day, and it's downright scary how powerful and quick. It's like almost like driving a video game with that 8-speed paddle shift, 7 horsepower mode. So anyway, I'm gonna get back to wiring. Well, TJ, I've driven the car quite a bit since you've been driving it. You've driven it quite a bit, and I know for sure that all this front's gonna work out just fine. So now I'm fixing to blow it apart and finish up the metal work in these lips, and then we'll start doing body work. I got all the sheet metal marked before I took it apart. I marked everywhere that needed work as I disassembled each thing. I marked if it needed bolts, the thread fixed, or whatever in that area, and now it's all scattered all over the shop. And then I can just go back and finish out each one of these. But I want to give you a closer look of what all's marked and how it's working out. So the hood, see where you see a little piece of green tape, it either needs a little body work or a seam seal or a dress weld or something like that. Not too much on this. That's all pretty good. And then over here I've done the same with the headlights when I took them out. Operated them, operated the doors. This door touched a little bit here and here, so I'm addressing a little bit here and a little bit on the other item, but that was the strike on that door that was hitting that. But other than that, the headlights are working very well. No issues. If we have any problem with them, we can just buy another light and take it apart. And I made all these parts where they unbolt out of it and just replace it with the other parts. So those worked out really, really nice. Here's your front fenders. Get around here. And on the front fenders, I went ahead and bolted it all back together, locked it down, and kind of jigged it up how to be on the car. And just got to finish out the seams here and a little bit around that. I couldn't get to none of that in the car. That's just mocked up. Now I'll be able to finish that out for that cold air intake. And not a whole lot here. Just a few little things. I got that for dyno mat, and then that lip, I'll blend all that in and roll that and smooth that lip. Now that I know that it works, I'm going to make some little filler panels I've already marked to where I can make some plastic shields there to keep that splash out of that door pocket, keep your door pocket clean. Let's see, and then over here, there's not a lot on this. That lower radiator, grill support. But this one, I'm going to fit the lights. They need a little adjustment here, and not a whole lot, just the way that landing is. I'm going to lower that, but this one's a little worse, so I'm going to lower it, go ahead and do both of them, make some more supports for just where these both go through that plastic. I'll just make a little washer type thing, and then I got to edge and trim that out and clean and paint up your bracket here, and then that piece I think will be done. And then here's what your bumper's looking like. And I've got it all mocked up. I just got to finish in these little areas here where all this was cut. because all this was cut a long time ago and just tacked in there while we were building it. So I'll make all that finished up nice, and then this bumper will be a little adjustable and go right in. And then over here is your other panel. I'll put these little extensions on here, try to do that quick and easy. I'll just seam seal that edge right there. All of it's been treated in between of them with well-through primers and epoxies and all that. So those will just stay on there. Index all that for me when that goes in. A few little spots there, and then I've got to wire in your Hellcat in the headlight. So when these doors open, it will call the inner Hellcat that you see, the inside the tubes, little glass tubes of the headlight on the inside headlights. But a little trimming on this, but not much. And I think Auto Metal Direct is going to get us a center grill section. That's not bad. And this is the area I was going to, if I can grind the end of that off and dress that a little bit, it won't be touching on that door. Back here, what I've done with this cooler, I made a little bracket and mounted that blower cooler down right there, and the little wheel cover protects it. And it runs good and cool. The blower temp is always real cool on it. And then my oil cooler, I've done the same way now. It's kind of crammed in there, and it has a little protectant from that inner fender that bolts in there, the factory one. And the little washer tank is close in front of it, but it's pretty open underneath there, so I'm sure it's getting plenty of air. The thing runs really, really good and cool all the time. So glad. Finally, we're down to just body work. I'm so glad I'm not to the point of still doing metal work, and all the fabricating and designing is just so complex and hard to do. When I get the body work, it's pretty much cut and dry. Luckily, we've done a lot of body work as we went along. A lot on the doors, everywhere. So there's not a whole lot of body work, but I want to do this final last fitment after we drove it. I've taken this front end off, looked at all the panels upside down, finished up any type of metal work, fabricating, grinding, and all that. Then I'd use a 2-part bonding adhesive on all my seams and patches and everything that I did inside there, and then put it back on while that was curing so all that could lock down. I did all the inside the hood, around the edge of all the opening for the blower, and everything is fitting so wonderfully. I'm just very stoked about it. Then I went through it all and lined up all the metal, got all the heights pretty much right on the money, so just a little light skim on all those. Went ahead and skimmed these. I want to give a shout out to Eastwood. They sent me out this polyester glazing putty. I've been using this stuff for years. Outstanding how easy it is to sand and how smooth it is. I did one quick wipe over these little pinholes I have. This has a Duraglass type product underneath it on this joint right here, and then that's cured out, and then I did a light skim with this, and I'll knock that off, and that'll be in good shape. And also, Eastwood sent me out a sanding system. I'm going to test out on this a dustless sanding system. And with my shop pretty clean, and it being wintertime with the heat stuff, I'm excited to try it out, because if it can keep that dust out of everywhere, I'll be stoked about it. So this is kind of what it consists of, is the sanding block with the hose, and I hook it up to my vacuum, and we'll see. I'll put it to the test. They want me to try it out, I'm going to try it out, and I'll let them know exactly how well that works. So I want to document all this stuff that I'm doing, so I'll give you a little closer look at what all I've done in each little area. Here's the taillight. So everything I've taken out, I've made sure it fit and was able to secure, and it has all the proper bolts that I need, or screws, the right color, the right style, everything about it. And then if I don't finish it out complete, I put a piece of tape on it, and that's just telling me that either needs to be replaced or re-cleared and cleaned up and made look nice. My headlights over here, they are completely done. I've kept them covered up. So those are the Hellcat headlight, cut out of the plastic housing, and then all reinstalled in the custom made ones for the Charger. Every bit of that is serviceable. If one of them goes down, you can just buy another headlight. You'd have to cut it apart, but it'll all come out of that one and bolt right into this one. And yeah, the headlights turned out pretty nice. They even have the Hellcat lights up inside there when the doors open up. On the car here, I finished up the metal work on the lip. I changed all that opening and widened it out for that platform for the Hellcat. I've got most of my body lines in really good shape. This is all auto metal direct metal, and you can see how well it fits already. I will not have to do much work to make all this metal work out good. You can see how close my blower is. It's like a 5mm gap all the way around it. I got a couple of low spots right there in the hood that just off and on and stuff. I've probably bent it just a little bit. It's just very, very little right there. I got a piece of tape right here because I want to open that up just a little bit right there. So I've took and marked all that where it needs to be. And then inside here, all this has the 2-part bonding adhesive in here, and I did that while it was on its back, so it had a little relief of stress, so the crown was facing down, and then let that cure for about an hour or so, and then mounted it all. So all this has been mounted with the bonding adhesive inside of it. I bonded the piece that's been welded, but also bonded the lip and the weld that comes around, and finished all that out, and inserted these on this panel. This is the original panel, but I want to fill that little gap right there, so I just did this as like little overlays, and these as little overlays for my lights. They'll look pretty good, but you can see the 69 Charger is just hovering over the Hellcat all the way around. So, and I've got it where it mounts right here on each side, and every piece has its own bushing shim, so I can take it right off. I just done both those two and both those two, and comes right off, serviceable, goes right back on, doesn't affect the Hellcat at all. The Hellcat will still run with this whole front clip off. So that worked out really, really well. Went in here and reinforced all the spoiler that we fabricated in down there, and with weld-in nuts and a plate, 3/16 plate to support all that, and that's in good shape. All this metal works in pretty good shape. You can see how good these panels are lining up, and you kind of see how wide I've widened it out there quite a bit. Looks good. It was out of necessity, but it turned out to be a good looking thing. My doors, see how good my doors are working. And then fix and prep these jams. I got the car, most all the interior still in it. I'll try to just protect that throughout this paint job. I got the Eastwood Contours skim coat on that, and all that I have sanded it back underneath there, then pre-cleaned it, so most of that's going to come off. Just some pits in there for that. I had to widen, had a little bit of tire touching right here on both sides, so I went there and sliced that, opened that up a little bit, just very little touch, it just rubbed the paint off. But that's a good thing about driving this thing the way we did. I've got to do a little work around the back window. These ends I fit and cut and fit these, and then I have 2-part bond adhesive back into place. I'll go back and cut that seam out, but they will be permanently bonded to that when it's all said and done. And then all my trunk area is real nice. My taillights, I had to mount factory Hellcat taillights in there, and they'll be serviceable, replaceable, but they're just in there facing down so the computer doesn't know they're not there, or which they are there, but that's the only way I could trick that computer for the taillights. And I've had to do a few little things like that so that every single thing works. Still got to get my backup camera and stuff out of there, but that all fits and works well. And then on the table, here's our bumper brackets. These bumper brackets, when they're all said and done, they'll look like a factory piece, and they're extremely strong, solid. This is all Charger all the way back to the plate to where I mount it right to the front of the Hellcat. I still got to grind and dress out a little bit and sand them, but once they're semi-glossed, they're going to look good. I made you some panels. These will go up in the fenders to keep your door pocket clean, so the spray off the tire doesn't come up in there and spray in the door pocket. The grill, it's all pretty much ready. Kevin Tates has got the centerpiece from Auto Metal Direct. They're going to ship me out. They shipped me out a new centerpiece because this one got broken. I got a chopstick in there and Got it camoed. It's been there for a while. Nobody's noticed it, but I'm going to replace that centerpiece. I've got just a little bit of trimming right here. I mean, every bit of this car is to the millimeters, from the headlights to the grills all the way back to the tail light. Everything is just such a tight fit. These are all my trunk panels in here. I just got to wrap those in the material and finish those up, and they'll look nice. And here's my Eastwood stuff. That's my contour glazing putty. I love that stuff. Works like a champ. I've got it on cars. It's been out there for years, and still holding up very well. And then this is going to be my sanding system right here, and I'm excited to try this out so that I don't get dust all in here. With all the dust in the winter and stuff, it just gets everywhere. And also, I've got my homemade air filtration system. I made this a while back. It's just got a squirrel cage fan in the very middle of it. It draws air in 5 sides under the bottom and all the sides, and it just blows it straight up. And the beauty of this too is it filters the air. I can get filters anywhere in town or Walmart at any level that you need the filtration to be, and then it blows straight up, which brings the heat back down in the shop. So that works good. Very handy little deal. So anybody can make one of them. Just get you some registers and then throw it together. Then anywhere on there you see the tapes where I'm going to do a light skim coat from panel to panel. But this is pretty much just the Auto Metal Direct metal finessed a little bit, but boy, it sure lines up and looks good. So let me step back here. Here she is. So it's time for body work, and can't believe it's about over. It's been like a pipe dream. Did a lot of them. Almost 4,000 hours out, I think, right now, somewhere in that area. But it's not bad for what this is. So, all right, I'm gonna get to sanding.